Hi everyone! In this video we're going to explore some amazing discoveries made at an ancient place called Sayburç, pronounced Sayburç. Sayburç is a very old settlement. People lived there around 12,600 years ago. It's one of 12 special ancient sites called the Taş Tepeler sites, found in the southeast of Turkey. These places are from a time before people even made pottery, which means they are really ancient. Here on the screen, you can see a map that I made myself showing all of the Taş Tepeler sites. I made the two most famous ones, Göbekli Tepe and Karahantepe. A little bigger on the map so you can spot them easily. Here's a fun fact. If you stand on the hill of Karahantepe, you can actually see Göbekli Tepe far away in the distance. I filmed this when I was there. It looks like a tiny white dot, which is the roof covering the site today. But imagine this. Thousands of years ago, if people lit fires at Göbekli Tepe at night, you could probably see the firelight glowing from Karahantepe too. Also, if you're interested, I'm planning another Turkey tour next year. It will have the same amazing places to visit, most likely in September 2026. You can find the link to sign up in the description below. Okay, now let's get back to Sayburç. Just before my last trip to Turkey, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism announced something very exciting. Since excavations began in 2021, archaeologists have found 50 buildings and many new T-shaped stone pillars at Sayburç. Most people don't know this, but Sayburç is actually divided into three main areas where digging has taken place. The first area was discovered in a very interesting way. A man found a carved stone picture, a relief, under his house. That's how scientists realized there were ancient ruins hidden beneath the modern village. But this meant that a lot of the villagers needed to be replaced so that their homes could be destroyed and archaeologists could start their excavation process. And that takes a while. You don't really relocate people very easily. So it's been 4 years since the first excavations took place, and the archaeologists have for sure not sat still. They have uncovered massive areas with at least 50 structures, which are both residential houses and communal public buildings side by side. Evidence in the residential structures reveal that food was prepared in these homes, as well as other household tasks were carried out within them as well. The archaeologists have made it public that 5 of these communal buildings have been discovered so far, and that these larger communal buildings seem to be surrounded by clusters of homes. All of these structures contain T-shaped pillars. But how do they even know the difference between a home and a communal building? You might ask yourself this. Well, the arrangements of benches and T-shaped pillars set them apart from the houses, as well as the fact that the communal buildings are quite larger than the residential homes. The homes will have one T-pillar, while the communal buildings will have 1 or 2 of these T-pillars in the center, with an arrangement of pillars, sometimes in the wall, surrounding the center pillar, or pillars. Another key difference between the homes and the public buildings seems to be the fact that in the residential buildings, the archaeologists have discovered piles of human bones, which they have not found in this exact manner in the communal buildings. Yeah, actually you heard that right, piles of human bones. So these bone piles were not mentioned in the initial announcement of the discovery of the 50 structures at Sayburç. But what is interesting is that these human bones were placed in one pile in the corner in all the residential homes. But what's even more fascinating is that these bones do not belong to the same individual. So you would have a skull that belonged to one individual, there would be a leg bone from another, and an arm bone from yet another, and so on and so forth. So one pile all these skeletal remains, but not belonging to one individual. But as far as I'm aware, it is unknown at this point in time if the bones from one individual were scattered throughout the residential homes, or if only one bone of an individual would have been kept overall. And if the latter is the case, it seems to be unclear where the rest of the bones would have been kept or placed, as the archaeologists have not discovered bones elsewhere at this point in time. So it seems unlikely that only one bone of each individual was kept. And it seems way more likely that multiple bones of one individual were kept and placed throughout different homes. But it remains a mystery why the ancient inhabitants of Sayburç placed these bones in their homes. It could be a form of ancestral worship. It could have been placed there for protection, possibly even a sacrifice, or as a combination of the three, or even a reason that I can't conjure up in my mind. Sayburç was one of the longer continuously occupied locations in ancient times. It seems that the inhabitants lived in this ancient settlement continuously for approximately 300 years. And another, in my opinion, quite major find here at Sayburç is that we can see the slow shift from building round or oval structures to rectangular ones. And if you have seen my short video on Harparetsu von Tepe, You can hear me say that the square building there was quite unique because at the Taş Tepeler sites we mostly see round and oval-shaped building structures, and it was at Neolithic Krai, which is way younger, that we really see the rectangular structures. But Tepe already had that, and Tepe is quite a bit younger than Sayburç and Göbekli. And if we can already notice the first shift into rectangular building styles here at Sayburç, that shows to us that the inhabitants of these ancient sites kept evolving their building techniques and their structural techniques as time went on. As far as I'm aware, it is unclear how old, or in other words, how much younger the rectangular buildings at Sayburç are. But my educated guess would be that they are among the youngest and the latest to have been built. So we have a high amount of T-shaped pillars, at least 50 structures, piles of human bones, and the rectangular building styles. And this was all uncovered during the excavations here in Sayburç over the past 4 years. And some of these discoveries were made very recently. And you can actually visit Sayburç yourself if you join my tour next year, as it is absolutely a part of our itinerary. If you want to look at the whole itinerary, click the link in the description down below. It's thecommunitygarden.org and check out my tour. But with that said, what do you think of these human bone piles, these structures, the homes and the public buildings, the T-shaped pillars, and the rectangular buildings? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed watching, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more of these kind of videos, and click that bell icon if you want to be notified whenever I upload. If you haven't seen my previous videos yet, then don't make me cry into a corner because I will absolutely do that. But click the card in the upper right corner or one of the links to the playlists in the description down below, or you can click a video in the end card. I would also like to say a massive thank you to my patrons and my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me. I got a new haircut. It's fun. I got back from Turkey, and Turkey was incredible. But I came back and my ankylose and spondylitis flared the baboba up, which is not fun. And I'm going to get new medication very soon, which means that I will need to inject myself every 2 weeks for maybe the rest of my life. Fun times. I do not recommend having the gene HLA-B27. I really don't. And if you have some symptoms that are similar to ankylose and spondylitis, please get yourself a blood test and let them test on the gene HLA-B27. This is not a fun disease. It's a 341 special. You've got arthritis, rheumatism, and it's an autoimmune disorder. So yeah, with that said, I will probably see you in the next video.